Well, we're revisiting the Great Western Steam Up one more time.
Right.
Not actually the Great Western Steam Up, but just our drive home.
Our exodus home.
Our exodus home, which involved driving completely across Nevada.
Right. I have new respect for our pioneers.
Jeez. Talk about the middle of nowhere. This is, however, US50.
Right.
The loneliest highway in America.
Yes.
And we thought, well, let's do that.
Let's try it.
Let's try it. So instead of taking the freeway, we decided to take the, what used to be the transcontinental system, the Lincoln Highway, US50. This is Austin, Nevada, fun little mining town.
Oh, it reminds me so much where I grew up.
Yeah, all of these wonderful old mining towns. Really fun and interesting.
Just small. Trading post. Mm-hmm. Well, this is a mountainous little town.
Isn't it?
I didn't think it was like this.
I didn't either. So the history of Nevada has always been about people finding silver and gold.
Right.
Now they find it in the casinos.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But this was just another one of those small, wonderful little silver boom towns. And speaking of silver and gold, we stopped and bought gas here. We always stop at every little town and buy gas.
Well, you about have to out here because where I grew up, half a tank is empty.
So it was 5 something, but we bought it anyway.
Of course.
This is the next little town along the line. This is Eureka.
Eureka. How many Eurekas do you suppose there are in the United States?
Every state has at least one.
Or two.
Or two, yeah. This one is interesting because it was the southern end of the Eureka and Pallasides.
Oh, neat.
And so should you want to exit off of US50, which we didn't do, and drive up to the freeway, you're actually paralleling the Eureka and Pallasides all the way up to Palisades. You can drive all over looking for Palisades. It's very difficult to find, but it's up at the freeway at Interstate 80 where it crosses through there.
Okay.
Now, as we mentioned, there was a time when this was the interstate.
Yes.
There was the Lincoln Highway from Times Square to Jack London Square, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And if you were going to travel across the United States, this was the main thoroughfare. Later, the Lincoln Highway became, for the most part, US50.
Right.
But this is US50, also the Lincoln Highway. And if you notice in front of this building right here, there's still a Lincoln Highway marker right there.
Right, and hence all of the historic buildings right along in these towns.
Absolutely. Great history all through this region, including railroad history.
Right.
So part of this is back up on the freeway where it parallels the Western Pacific, which is, of course, why there's the Nevada State Railroad Museum at Carson City.
Right.
Now here's another fun little bit of railroad history we discovered at Elko, Nevada.
Right.
Elko was right on the Western Pacific when the Western Pacific was built. That's why Elko was here.
Right.
And they've got this GP7 on display at what used to be the switching yards.
Oh.
The WP switching yards. Now it's a huge parking lot. All the tracks have been removed. And boy, do they have a lot of parking for the town where the switching yards used to be.
Right.
But one little remnant, just to remind everybody that this had been the Western Pacific switching yards, is this great little display here in the park. A Western Pacific caboose and a Western Pacific GP7, first generation diesel. I just can't help looking at this equipment and calling it modern.
Right.
That just shows my age.
Well.
But when I was young, these first generation diesels were like, oh, geez, if it doesn't run on steam, it's just these modern trains. I don't care for these modern trains. I look at this going, modern?
Yes.
It's just us showing our age.
Right, and especially the caboose part. They don't even put those on trains anymore.
They don't. And we can never visit Nevada without at least stopping by the home of Cheif Rolling Thunder.
Isn't this a curiosity?
It's a grand curiosity, and we've just always made it part of our tradition that when we're crossing Nevada, we stop at the home of Cheif Rolling Thunder Mountain.
Right.
Here in, what's the name of the town?
Oh, it's near Ely, Nevada.
Ely.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little small town.
Right along Interstate 80.
Right.
But what an amazing curiosity.
Oh, for sure.
Cheif Rolling Thunder Mountain lived with his family here for years. The family has moved on and they sort of take care of the place. Cheif Rolling Thunder Mountain has passed away. But the home lives on, and it's now an official, recognized Nevada State Historic Site.
Right.
And so, anyway, we just have to stop and look.
Always.
Because, oh my gosh.
Yes.
A lot of what you see around here is just stuff that he found out in the desert.
Right.
And turned it into artwork. But most of what you see here are sculptures made out of mortar mix.
Right.
Just the stuff that you would normally mortar a wall together with.
Right.
And for me, the great interest here is this is how I intend to do the scenery on the garden rail.
If I see a face, I'm running away.
Yeah, I hope the scenery on the Garden Railroad doesn't look quite like this, but the technique.
Yes.
It's the technique that interests me, and I hope to use the same technique for making mountains.
Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore. And Steve is going to be helping with that because he's actually done this kind of work with mortar mix. He, too, has not carved people. But has actually carved mountains. You can see his work at the Luxor Hotel in Nevada, for example. Anyway, we are not alone in our fascination for the place. This is sort of a mecca for all kinds of people who want to come here and see the artwork, and then they bring little gifts and hang various things on the sculptures and leave behind little offerings to the sculptures and sculpture garden and whatever else. So you see all these fun little things that people have left behind just by hanging it on the artwork. And every few years out here, there's an infestation of Mormon crickets.
Oh, that's always so much fun to crunch those things up with your car. I mean, there's like herds of them.
There are billions and billions of these things during the infestation of the Mormon cricket every 7 years or so.
Right.
Yuck. Now, the other big reason to travel US 50 instead of the freeway is that would take us through Ely, Nevada.
Right.
We just love coming to Ely. We come out here several times a year.
It's our home away from home anymore.
It really is. It's just such an amazing place.
Right.
Now, Ely was also experiencing an insect infestation.
Oh, yeah.
But this was much more pleasant.
Yes, it is.
This is pretty compared to Mormon crickets.
Oh, yeah. Yuck.
But the number one thing is the the locomotives, my favorite being the steam engines. They now have both 81 and 93 running again.
Isn't that cool?
And so they're back up to having 2 operating steam locomotives, and number 40 is well on its way to being put back out onto the tracks. The inspection and rebuild of that engine is coming right along.
Right, we need to just go back out there and see how they're coming along. That would be a good excuse, right?
Well, any excuse to go to Ely.
Right.
We can just wander around the shops and just take it in and just breathe. It's just like...
It's a shop.
It's just such an amazing place to visit. There are so few places where there are simply steam locomotive shops still in use.
Right.
A handful of places really in the United States, and they're all just a joy to visit. Ely being one, Chama, Durango.
Right, it's like stepping back in time.
Just wonderful places to just come and visit and just be part of the history. We mentioned number 40, which is being rebuilt here. All steam locomotives have to undergo a complete inspection and rebuild, depending on how often they're run, approximately every 5 to 7 years.
Right.
Just depends how many hours you're putting on the engine. And number 40 right now is receiving a complete teardown, inspection, and rebuild.
That'll be a lot better.
And actually they have finished the inspection. They have finished a lot of the work that they found that needed to be done, and they're now in the process of putting the locomotive back together.
Right, so that's an excuse to get back out there to see how it's coming along.
Well, and of course we will have to be here for the inaugural run.
Yes, of course.
When they reintroduce number 40 to the world. Here's the plumbing that will go inside the boiler. There's the superheater to the right and the new boiler tubes to the left. Everything waiting to go back in the boiler, which they're doing right now.
Right.
And of course, one of the funnest reasons to come to Ely is to say hi to Dirt.
Dirt and DJ.
Dirt and DJ, the shop cats.
Right.
And Dirt, just generally speaking, hangs around the shop here.
Right. Dirt's getting some years and just takes life easy.
He's just kind of up in years, and he just sort of hangs out over here in the corner of the shop and waits for people to come by. He's a very social animal.
Right.
And as soon as you come by, he wants to come over and say hi.
Yes.
Dirt. He looks filthy.
He does, hence his name, but you can't live in a locomotive shop and not get dirty.
Yeah, but he's fine.
He does. He gets good care.
He gets very good care. He just looks like he's a bit of a mess, but he's healthy and he's fine, and everybody loves Dirt.
Exactly.
We're not sure where DJ has gone off to.
Oh, he's such a young cat. He's out probably mousing and tormenting people, and
yeah, he's always around, but you never know where he's around.
Just like any youngster about that age.
Yup. He wanders a bit. Well, they're always running at least one of their steam engines on the weekends.
Right.
And certainly holidays and events and that sort of thing. But also, they'll let people come in here and just charter an engine. You can sign up to run the engine.
Right.
And they have an engineer school.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, wouldn't that be the funnest thing imaginable? It's called You Be the Engineer, something like that.
It is.
And they teach you how to run a steam engine, and then they turn over one of these steam engines to you, and you take it out on the main line and pull a train around.
Right. You had the experience of doing the high railer.
The high railer was fun, but
yes.
To really do it, wouldn't that be fun to sign up for the Be the Engineer program?
Well, we need to start saving for that and do it.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive, but I think it's well worth it.
It would be.
Now, they left some chalk around for kids to play with.
Oh, yes, and then there's the kids.
And the kids played with it.
Yes.
Don't leave chalk around if you don't expect somebody to play with it. Well, if you haven't been over to the channel, and if you're not a subscriber or a member, please head over to the channel and subscribe or join as a member. And you can get there with the blue button.
There it is.
Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this grand adventure on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here on Tuesday with some Tuesday foolishness. See ya. Bye.
Bye.